Welcome to the NEFPA Home and Garden Show. I'm Wally Conway. The NEFPA Home and Garden Show is brought to you by the Northeast Florida Builders Association, who bring you the very finest in builders, remodelers, renovators, real estate agents, lenders, and vendors. You can count on the members of NEFPA. Joining us on the show today from Prime Realty is Mario Butler. Mario, welcome to the Home and Garden Show.
Thanks for having me, Wally.
I'm excited to have you here. We've a nice relationship together. We've done other things together. And before we really talk about commercial real estate, I wanted to thank you for all the things you do right here in Jacksonville with the Mario Butler Foundation and helping kids. It's important that people know how vested you are in the community and the great things you do. So thank you.
No problem at all. At the Mario Butler Foundation, I think that's one of the things that we try to pride ourselves on, is bettering the community and people that's in the underserved community as well.
Well, I'm excited about your transition from being a professional football player to becoming a professional real estate agent, and beyond that, into the world of commercial real estate with our friends over there at Prime Realty. What is it that excited you so much about the opportunity to be involved in commercial real estate?
The one is the thing that I always try to pride myself on, is just having that purpose to serve and just being able to help others, whether that's investors or a business owner looking to find a business. So that's one of the things that gets me fired up. I kind of say it's like making a big play in football. So making a contract, getting it signed, making it happen, I think that's the main thing that I get excited about.
Get that baby across the goal line.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Mario, no matter what business we're in, from a construction standpoint, whether we're a home builder, a renovator, whether we're a vendor that needs a showroom,
right,
all of our businesses need a place to live. What do you find is the biggest challenge in helping a person find exactly the right place for their business to live?
I think the biggest thing is just trying to get down to the nuts and bolts of everything. We talk about price per square foot and trying to get into the minds of that business owner and see how we can actually add value, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of brokers they can choose. I think by being able to come to Prime, we're able to show the customers that unique appeal that we have for us finding what is right for them.
Well, I know you have a team approach over there at Prime, too. There's a lot of strong guys behind you. That's a good thing. You know, very often for a business owner, especially in the construction space, the greatest asset we sometimes have in our business, at the end of our business, is the real estate
right
itself. How do you help the business owner to understand that, yeah, I know you're building a plumbing business or you're building a remodeling business, but to help them build wealth in the property in which their business lives?
So I think the biggest thing is just going down to just analysis and figuring out what that investor or business owner really needs, because at the end of the day, I think that's really what matters, serving the purpose of them and what they really need, not necessarily what the market may dictate, which has a lot to do with it, but just being able to deliver on that standpoint.
Well, I know also you work with a lot of investors where that person's investment is that commercial building or property. How do you pair the business owner with the investor such that the value of the business is growing while the value of the building is also growing?
Well, again, it goes all down to your analysis and your performance. So whenever you're able to analyze that and able to match up what the investor needs and what the business owner needs, I think that's create a win-win situation, create value for everyone.
Sometimes there's confusion, Mario, as a business owner on how am I going to structure that building? Not the nuts and bolts, but the ownership of the building versus the ownership of the business versus maybe even my retirement fund. How can you help that person bring the long-term wealth and money value into that real estate and business investment?
I think it comes down to that team effect. We were talking about when you're working with different lenders, different brokers, different building inspectors, everyone's an entire team effect, so we can actually just bring value to our clients as well.
Well, Mario, for members of NEFPA who'd like to learn more about finding a home for their business, not only so they can build the business, but build wealth in that real estate, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
You can reach me at www.primerealtyinc.com and learn more about myself as well as my team members as well.
It's all about the team.
It's all about the team, create win-win situations.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank Mario for being with us today, and a reminder the Mario Butler Foundation is doing great things right here in Jacksonville. For the NEFPA Home and Garden Show, I'm Wally Conway. Welcome to the NEFPA Home and Garden Show. I'm Wally Conway. The NEFPA Home and Garden Show is brought to you by the Northeast Florida Builders Association, where you can find the very best builders, remodelers, contractors, realtors, lenders, and vendors, people you can trust to bring the dream of home ownership to you. Joining us on the Home and Garden Show today from Round Table Realty is a friend of mine, Erica Jolles. Erica, welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you
I
for
am
having
happy
me.
to have you here. Knowing you're at Round Table Realty, I need to begin by apologizing. We do have a rectangular table here in front of us today.
That's quite all right. As long as I'm at the head of it, it doesn't matter.
You are at the head of the table.
That's
That's a
true.
good thing. I'm happy about that. You know, Erica, buying a home is a challenging time for most people. It's fearful.
Mm-hmm.
How do you use your background, having a master's in psychology, to get people comfortable in what's a fearful time?
Well, I think it's important to listen to people. First and foremost, I need to treat every single person as if it's the first time they're doing this, whether they've bought 10 houses or one house. I think it's important to listen to my clients, start where they are at in the process, and sort of go from there. Walk them through it, hold their hand, whatever I need to do to help quell their fears. I tell people finding the house is the easy part. It's everything else to get to closing that's the difficult part, and that's my job, is to help make sure it all goes through smoothly.
Right. Knowing that people are uncomfortable, has it been your experience they're uncomfortable with the technical things and contractual things, or they're just emotionally uncomfortable with this big decision?
I think it's a combination. I think it depends upon the generation, who the person is. I think the older generations sometimes are a little bit more nervous about the technicalities of it all. Actually, when you say technicality, the technicalities of it all, I think the older generation is sometimes nervous when it comes to, this might be their last house, and so it needs to be the perfect house. I think sometimes first-time home buyers are nervous because of the financial component. It's the biggest purchase they're making.
Right.
And so what does that mean? A lot of times they say, well, I just want my payment to be $1,000 a month because that's what they're paying for rent. Well, they don't understand $1,000 a month. Then you have to start subtracting out your homeowner's insurance, your HOA fees,
Right.
if there's a CDD fee, and then maybe now you're down to $500 a month. So what can you really afford? So it's really educating them and hoping, again, to help them to relax and look at the big picture and see how spending a little bit more money sometimes can get them into what they want, and they'll be more comfortable for a longer period of time.
When you're showing new houses, how important is it that you create a really comfortable and positive working relationship with that site agent?
That's a great question, because I find a lot of times the site agent is what dictates the ease of the process. I believe my job is to educate my clients about the area. I'm walking into a community because I've already told my clients this is a great area for X, Y, and Z, good schools or whatever it might be.
Right.
In my opinion, it's a site agent's job to educate my clients on what that builder has to offer, what's
Right.
sort of their shtick, because every builder has one. So I think it's important that we work together. When site agents start sometimes sounding like salespeople, hard-pressed salespeople, it just makes me uncomfortable, and I sometimes will rush it and get it through, so that way we can start looking at the houses and get down to the bottom line. I'm all about the bottom line, not financially, but when I walk into these places, I tell the site agents, I've already educated them about the area, I've educated them about the schools. Bottom line us, tell us what your incentives are, what you have to offer, what lots are available, and what floor plans are available. I'm going to take care of the rest.
Gotcha. And often you'll have that conversation even with them ahead of time.
Always.
So it's a good, comfortable relationship.
Always, yeah.
You're working teamwork to assure that person's making a comfortable decision.
Absolutely. And I often will call ahead. I'll meet with them ahead. I that's so important to me as well.
Absolutely. So Erica, what's the best way to get a hold of you for people that would like to learn more about yourself as well as Round Table Realty?
Well, there's a couple of different ways to get a hold of me. You can look at my website, www.sellsjacks.com, or you can give me a call or a text at 904-652-5978. And I'd love to work with you.
Thank you, Erica. I'd like to thank Erica Jolles for being with us today on the Home and Garden Show. For the Home and Garden Show, I'm Wally Conway. Welcome to the NEFPA Home and Garden Show. I'm Wally Conway. The Home and Garden Show is brought to you by NEFPA, featuring the finest builders, remodelers, contractors, lenders, and vendors anywhere in Florida. Joining us on the Home and Garden Show today from Gold Star Adjusters is Mark Goldwich. Mark, welcome to the Home and Garden Show.
Thanks for having me, Wally.
Well, it is timely, having just recovered here in Florida, or beginning the recovery from Hurricane Michael. I imagine your phone will be ringing off the hook.
It should be very shortly. It was a devastating storm.
Well, you know, for the uninitiated, when we unfortunately have a claim at our house, especially a devastating claim, it needs to be adjusted. Share with me the fundamental difference between the types of adjusters.
All right, there's three basic types of adjusters. You have staff adjusters, which are permanently employed by insurance companies. Those are the ones you typically think about. Then you have what's called independent adjusters. These are adjusters who can work for any insurance company, but again, they work for insurance companies and they're not really as independent as the name implies. And then you have public adjusters who work only for the policyholder. They never work for the insurance company.
Well, I can say from personal experience, when Hurricane Matthew dumped a big tree on my house, the insurance company offered me $25,000. The contractor who was doing the repairs indicated that was not going to do it. And I want to express a thanks to you for assuring that that claim got adjusted. You represented me, and I ended up getting exactly what I needed to make me whole again, and it would not have occurred otherwise. So thank you very much for that personal experience. You know, I'm curious, in NEFPA we've got a lot of builders, a lot of remodelers. Let's imagine I'm a remodeler and I'm partway through a remodel and suddenly there's damage to the addition, incomplete, and there's damage to the existing home. How can you help me sort that insurance nightmare so that my damaged home gets repaired and my damaged addition gets completed?
Well, we're able to help because we take it piece by piece, and we just we're very analytical about our approach, and we do the best we can to keep things separate. And it happens a lot, more commonly when you have wind combined with flood, right. And sometimes the damages appear to be mixed, but what we do is we look at the policies and their limitations, their exclusions, and the ways they work together, and we find the best way to work it together. So if there's a gray area, we want to work it so that it works out in your favor.
So you've got two different policies, likely from two different providers with two different interests.
Right.
Your role is to really come in and assure that they're woven together so everyone is made whole.
Exactly. And the key is that we're doing it in the way that benefits you, not the way that benefits the insurance company or the insurance companies.
I hear a lot of debate about flood insurance. People claiming they do need it, they don't need it. Here in Florida, is there any reasonable reason a person would not have flood insurance on their home?
Not that I can think of. Unless you're in, there are some small areas in Central Florida that are on somewhat of a crest or a hill. Those homes would not need it, or probably would not need it. If they did, it would be catastrophic. The rest of the state would be underwater. But for the most part, if you're in Florida, there really is no reason not to get flood insurance, because if you're not in a flood zone, which is the most typical reason people don't have it, it's cheaper if you're not in a flood zone.
A mandatory flood.
It's about $400 a year or something. Yeah. Go ahead and get it, because the most common thing you find after a big flooding event like a hurricane is how many people didn't have flood insurance because it wasn't required.
We learned that after Irma, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of local homeowners who lost everything and discovered they didn't have flood insurance. How important is it when you initially meet with that insurance company to make the claim that you properly explain where the water came from to assure you're covered?
Well, they usually know where it came from. And there are those cases where even if they know where it came from, if they're giving certain directions or marching orders, they're going to say something else. And our job is just to stick with it, be tenacious, not give up, and make our case using photographic evidence, even neighbors' accounts, whatever is necessary.
We want to be honest and correct, and we also want to win.
Correct.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
So, Mark, for people to learn more about Gold Star Adjusters, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of us is through the website, goldstaradjusters.com. That's the easiest way.
goldstaradjusters.com. I'd like to thank Mark Goldwich for being with us today on the Home and Garden Show. For the Home and Garden Show, I'm Wally Conway. Home and Garden TV is the place you want to be to meet the best builders and contractors right here on Buzz TV. Welcome to the NEFPA Home and Garden Show. I'm Wally Conway. The NEFPA Home and Garden Show features the very finest of contractors, remodelers, realtors, lenders, and vendors available anywhere in Florida. Joining us on the Home and Garden Show today from Artifex Gutters is Fletcher and Davis. Fellas, welcome to the Home and Garden Show.
Hi there, good morning.
So Artifex, give me the backstory. What is Artifex?
Well, it's kind of a different name, especially for a gutter company, because normally with companies you have, this is Bob's Bricks, Larry's Landscaping, but the name Artifex is actually Latin for craftsman. And anything that we build, anything that we do, eventually we're going to be expanding into a lot of different things. But we want to make sure that at last that customers are getting a high value product at a reasonable price or at a great price. And by and large, I want to build my business to be we're 100% veteran owned and operated right now, and to the greatest extent possible, I definitely want to keep that.
Excellent. So gutters, I'll never understand why every home in Florida doesn't have gutters, but as it turns out, I see this every day as a home inspector, the most common cause of damage around a home is water splashing back on it. It rolls off the roof, it splashes on it, we get rot, we get mold, all kinds of funk. What is, once you capture the water, what do you do with it?
Well, going back to what you mentioned about damage, a lot of people don't think about it. It's always like retrospective. Okay, the siding on the house looks dirty or it's rotted. Oh, geez, where did it come from? The stucco has all cracks in it. Oh, my goodness. Gutters helps to mitigate and prevent that type of damage to a house. It's not just the foundation, it's actually the sides of your house and how your house looks as well, which is important if you're looking to sell your house down the road, which most people kind of tend to do. It's an important aspect. But water comes off the roof, goes into a gutter system, and then it's channeled somewhere safely away from the house. It's a very simple concept, but like, I don't know, a lot of homes don't have it, or they don't have a proper gutter system installed, or they have outdated systems. A lot of these homes out here, we do tear downs all the time of just old systems that either have been rusted or they don't work. We come in, we take them down, and we do it for free as well. We take them down and then we install a great brand new 6-inch system. It's good stuff.
Good. Big gutters, that's a good thing. Seamless gutters, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So one of the pushbacks I hear from people who don't have gutters is, I don't have gutters because I have trees and leaves and debris and I don't want to clean gutters. How do you solve that problem?
Well, it's actually pretty easy. There are a lot of different systems out there that provide gutter protection. There's a screen mesh that could pop in. Sometimes there's an aluminum thing that sits on top of it. They all have their benefits and their drawbacks. And what a lot of people don't know about, I guess, like the gutter industry is there's a lot of beauty in the simplicity of a wire mesh protection. Because like you just said, the number one thing is leaves, sticks, random debris. I'll never forget when we did a job where there was a downspout that we did for a doctor's office, and we weighed it out of curiosity. It had 20 pounds between just like these nuts that fell down from trees, the little pebbles, the asphalt stuff that gets stuck in there. It just all got stuck. And honest to goodness, most of the time, all you need is a little screen mesh to go on top, and that will solve 90% of the problems that people have when gutters get dirty.
How about gutter tune-ups and alignment? If I have a gutter system, it's looking a little saggy, can you come on out and tweak it and make it right?
Yes, and you normally when a gutter system is installed, sometimes you're not able to see how the water is flowing. You have guys that go out there with little torpedo levels, or like levels about this big, and they check the level all the way down. That's what some guys do, but by and large, on new gutters, when they come out of a machine, they have this line. It's like a little bevel edge. And when you're installing it, you actually use that edge to level your gutter, and you don't need that level anymore. But if you have an older system, it kind of depends. If the gutter is nailed to your house, you can't really adjust it. But if it is screwed in, then gutter can be adjusted and fixed so that you get a proper flow.
Excellent. For people who'd like to learn more about Artifex gutters, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is by and large through my cell number, which is 904-397-5695, and that's my personal business cell. Either myself or my assistant Davis over here will answer. And we're still developing the website, but the website will be artifexgutterinstallation.com. It's coming pretty soon. It's going to be a very, very nice website, easy to use and easy to contact me and my partner here.
I'd like to thank Fletcher and Davis for being with us today. For the Home and Garden Show, I'm Wally Conway. Welcome to the NEFPA Home and Garden Show. I'm Wally Conway. Joining us on the show now is from 101 Mobility, Jim Sock. Jim, welcome to the Home and Garden Show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, mobility is so critical to the quality of our lives, to be able to move around our house, get in and out of our house, and in and out of our vehicle. I'm really grateful for the way you've partnered with so many NEFPA members to help people age in place in their homes. That's a noble mission.
Thanks.
I'm curious. I'm 63 years old, and it's my position personally, and I think it's one many people have. I don't want to leave my home until they roll me out on the gurney, and not soon. What is the biggest issue that I will typically face aging in place in my home? What's the big challenge I should expect to see?
Well, I liked how you used the word rolling out, because there's going to be a lot of different phases you're going to be going through before you get to a state you're being rolled out. But one of those is being rolled in, and there's going to be a lot of different mobility devices that from wheelchairs and walkers you'll eventually migrate through, and getting those devices in and out of your house by yourself is the first thing you really need to be thinking of. A lot of homes in the area have 3 or 4 steps going up to the front door. Also in the garage, a lot of times there's a step or two that you have to deal with. And dealing with those issues now, when you can take your time and get those issues resolved, planning for the future is a lot better time than when
it becomes urgent and critical need. You know, one of the things also, I believe, when those of us who are in our 60s and we look forward, we forget that sometimes we may need mobility assistance mechanically or with other people just for a short period of time. Could be an injury or something occurs, and that preparation is real critical.
With short period of time, there is rentals available for these types of scenario, but you really got to think to yourself, how short term is that? If it's a short term necessity now, it might be a need that you're going to have down the road. So making the investment now instead of just thinking out temporarily might be something to consider too.
Right. In and out of my house, I can see that you can help me with that very easily. It's not a special challenge in anything construction-wise. But my home, it's a 2-story home. The master suite is on the 2nd floor, as is the master bath. And I've got real concerns about how I'm going to get from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor, since I have that nice winding stairway. How can you help me accommodate that?
There's several different methods. We could try to accommodate something to your staircase, because you mentioned yours is a curved staircase. Right. It wraps around. There's a customility to that. It has to be constructed around your staircase. It's not something going straight up. So there is work involved in that, not just for me as the dealer, the installer, but for the manufacturer building that type of equipment. The other way is going vertically, straight from one floor to the next. There is alternatives to having elevators in the house. There is vertical type platform lifts that we can put into place, and we can put those in the middle of living rooms, right into bedrooms, and we can adapt them to the home.
I look at the potential cost of assisted living. That's in that $5,000 to $10,000 a month range. And it really sounds like even if my need is short term, it's cost effective to make a long term or a permanent modification for the house. Is that been your experience?
Yeah, when you make these investments, you got to think, how much longer is that going to keep me in the house? And like you compare that to rental type situation in assisted living, normally having the construction done on your house will most of the time outweigh that. It also provides another aspect to that. When you're trying to plan that, you also got to not quite think about yourself. You want to think about yourself in the lines of safety. What's safe for me to get from my first floor to the second floor? But you got to also think what you're doing from the first floor to the second floor. There's stuff that you're carrying. Right now, it might be okay for you to walk up the steps. You don't have a problem with that. You add a laundry basket full of clothes, and now you're talking about an unsafe situation. And as you get older, you reach a point where when you fall, things don't bruise anymore. Things start breaking.
Right.
So you also got to think of it, just because you're physically able to do it, it might not be safe for you to do that.
Right. Well, you're giving me a lot to think about. Jim, for people to get with you and have that consultation, what's the best way to get a hold of you at 101 Mobility?
We have an interactive website that you can go to. A lot of questions will be able to be answered there, and there's also a form that you can fill out for a free in-home consultation. We'll come out and let you know your options. Our website's 101mobility.com, and or Jacksonville.101mobility.com, and you'll see the form right on there.
I appreciate that. I'd like to thank Jim for being with us today on the NEFPA Home and Garden Show. For the Home and Garden Show, I'm Wally Conway. Big event or party at your home or business? The Jacksonville Party Company. Stress-free, flawless, and memorable. Whether it's for children, a retirement, a wedding, or other social or professional activity, it's stress-free, flawless, and memorable when you involve the Jacksonville Party Company. Contact them today to get your event launched at jacksonvillepartycompany.com. Home and Garden TV is the place you want to be to meet the best builders and contractors right here on Buzz TV.